Hello and welcome to Nail Sculpting Do's and Don'ts with me. I'm Anastasia Milton and this is day 2 of the class. I'm super excited because this is the first time we're doing something like this. We usually did just one day webinar and today we are doing the second day. So the first thing I would like to ask you if you attended the class yesterday or if this is your first day. If you already shared something about yourself yesterday, that's okay, but I would like to know how long do you know me and how many years are you in the nail industry. If for some reason you missed the live stream yesterday, I understand that maybe you were at work or couldn't attend for any other reason. That's okay because the replay will be available for 2 days. But since we're live here now, I encourage you to stay here with me and watch live the second day, and then you can watch the replay of the first day. Hello, France. Hello, England. Hello, Inga. I'm here both days. Hello, Sweden, Orlando. Hello, Louise. Attended yesterday. Amber, Calera, Gergana. I'm sorry if I'm reading someone's name incorrectly. Theodora. I attended the very last part of the webinar through YouTube because of my work hours. Well, we knew that, and also we know that we have people from all over the world. We know that in Australia, it's probably nighttime now. That's why you will be able to watch a replay, but for the limited time. Okay, so also, I will quickly run through the rules. So replay will be available. We received tons of messages and questions about this one, so we will do a replay for you, but please watch it within 2 days. Class will take about 2 hours. I will really do my best to fit in this time today. And also today I will share more tips and tricks, and also I will leave a little bit more time for Q&A section. And I encourage you to be active, ask questions. If you notice that someone is asking question but you already know the answer because I just talked about this, please help them. And also you will have a quiz at the end of this class, and you need to complete it within 24 hours to receive certificate. Okay, hi Leslie, know you for a year and been in the industry for a year. Was here yesterday. Hello from India. I managed to join yesterday for the last hour of the webinar. Thank you, Marta. Hannah is here for the first day. I've been watching for almost 2 years and have been doing nails for 3 years. Great. So I can see that we have many beginners here, and I will quickly do the same quiz as I did yesterday. I just would like to know what is your biggest goal and motivation for this webinar. So if you came here for motivation, for learn new things, to get inspired, please hit number 1 in the comments. If you're a beginner, then this webinar is a great start for you. This is number 2. If you're an experienced nail technician, so you have maybe 2 years of experience or more, but you will definitely learn more tips and tricks. So I think when people ask me Anastasia, what is the main secret of becoming successful nail technician? I will tell you this is definitely where you do not ever stop learning. And also maybe you're at number 4, burned out. But it's time to reevaluate your work and get a dose of inspiration. And finally, maybe you're an educator and you also keep learning, which is great. Okay, so we have many number 2s here, so many beginners, and also number 3s, so beginners and experienced nail technician, and many of you are looking for motivation. Oh, Samantha, I'm definitely a 4. Okay, so whichever number applies to you, you did a great job, and thank you for joining live. I will do my best to help you and to bring some inspiration and motivation in your life. So the program for today, we will talk about nail shapes. We will talk about how to deal with inconsistent nail shape, How to work faster. This is a highly demanded topic, and everyone wants to know how to do this, whether you're just getting started or you have experience. We will talk about products for gel extensions. I will do a new online class presentation, and also we will do a hands-on demo. We will do product removal and hard gel. Okay. So we did acrylic yesterday, and today we will have a gel day. 1 + 2 + 3 + 4. Love you. Wow. So somebody is a beginner and wants motivation and burned out at the same time. Okay, 1, 3, and a bit of 4. Okay, thank you, Anastasia. I'm so excited. Thank you, Samantha. Okay, so I noticed that some people are here for the first time, so I will quickly introduce myself. Again, for those who do not know me yet, I'm Anastasia Milton. I'm nail technician since 2004, so I'm technically like a dinosaur in this industry. And I'm an expert in nail sculpting, nail transformations, and most importantly, my favorite part of my job is teaching and sharing and explaining things easily. So right now I'm doing my favorite part, just sharing my knowledge and experience. And even though I do many things, like I do dry manicure, I can do some kinds of nail art. So I tried almost everything, maybe except for pedicure, within the nail industry. And I figured out my favorite part is definitely nail sculpting and transforming nails. Because I mean, nail art is great, nail art is fun, and I love doing this too, but with nail sculpting, you can actually change the look of someone's nails. You can fix something, you can change the shape, the length, and I mean, and while I'm explaining this to you, I have these goosebumps because I just remember all these face expressions from my clients who's been like, oh my God, Anastasia, I never knew that my hands can actually look like this. How happy they are after I do this transformation, especially for people who've been biting their nails like all their life and they never even seen them in with manicure, with a little extensions, and they're like, wow. So I love giving confidence to people, and right now I love giving confidence to nail technicians, experienced and beginner. Okay, so besides everything I did in the nail industry, my biggest part that I'm proud of is, of course, my students' work. So like I told you, my favorite part is teaching. And of course, I'm doing my best to give the best results for the students. And I just would like to show you some of their works, right? Because I think this is like the best result of my work and their work, of course, that you can see is how beautifully they're doing nails after taking online class. And we will be talking about this class later today. Okay, so now let's talk about salon nail shapes. There are many, many shapes out there, and these are the most popular ones. These are not all nail shapes. Okay, I know that there's more, but we will be talking about the most popular one, okay, most traditional ones. So if you printed a workbook or you have it in your phone or iPad, now we need to go to page 19. This is actually the first page of day 2. And you have, let me see, well, yeah, almost the same shape stated here. Let's talk about each shape. So I think you have an idea of how each shape looks like, but let's just take a little bit of closer look. So square is the most, I would say, traditional nail shape, and I also call it the basic shape because it has sidewalls, and this is usually the shape that we start to learn from. This is the shape that's included in the class for beginners because once you're able to build these straight parallel sidewalls, it will be easier for you to understand all the rest of the shapes. And of course, this is shape number 1 when someone wants short nails. Okay, then we have coffin, which is also quite popular. Recently, it's similar to the square, but unlike square, the sidewalls are looking a little bit like in one direction. Okay, so in your workbooks, yes, you have square, you have ballerina. So let me see. Okay, yeah, so now let's talk a little bit about coffin and ballerina. There is a little confusion about these shapes, and honestly, I think most of the shapes that we can see today on Instagram and salons is coffin. But also, I noticed that some schools, some nail technician clearly explain the difference. So traditionally, coffin is something where we have straight lines. So we have sidewalls and we have this line on the top because it looks like coffin. And with ballerina, we have sidewalls that are not exactly like lines. They are a little bit curved. Okay, so this is the difference. And this is what, in my understanding, ballerina should look like. And also the free edge has this slight curve, so it's not exactly a straight line. But this is such a slight difference, and I want to assure you that most clients will not even see or understand this difference. That's why I personally do not ever ask a client, like, do you want coffin or ballerina? So I just tell them, okay, let's do coffin. This is what it looks like, and show them a picture. Because I think, this is something we need to know as professionals in our mind. But like I said, they're very similar. So coffin, since it has these straight lines, looks great with whether it's medium or long shape. And ballerina is more traditionally the one when we are doing shorter version of the nails. And also when you try to create a shape like this on natural nails, right? In natural nails, it's different. We cannot really build something. We need to work with the nail that we already have. So once you try to do this shape with natural nails, usually it looks more like ballerina. And for me personally, in my head, this is how I also differ them. So coffin, it has this straight line on the bottom, and ballerina has this slightly curved line on the free edge. Okay, let me know if that's like the clear explanation. Okay, so I am noticing that some of you are asking about the book, the workbook, and we have it available on the website nailsproacademy.com. So if you're watching through YouTube, there's the link in the description. You can click on it to log in through the website. I recommend you to do this because this is how you will be registered for this webinar. This is how your email will be in our group for this webinar. So you will be able to download the book. You will be able to pass the quiz at the end to get certificate. And most importantly, you will be able to see our special deals for today. Okay, let's continue. Then we have oval shape, which is also, I would say, traditional shape. It's very common when we are doing a natural nails overlay. It's also very common when someone wants some kind of rounded shape, but short. Right, oval will be like a perfect solution here. And then we have almond. So the difference between almond and oval is like almond is more narrow on the free edge. It's a little bit more tapered. And the reason why this shape is called almond is because it does look very similar to like nut, to almond. If you take a look at this, or if you like I don't know, divide it like into two pieces. Okay, and finally we have stiletto, and there are so many different kinds and styles of stiletto. Some of them, I would say, more traditional salon ones usually look like this. But then there's also like extreme and longer style of stilettos when they look more straight and longer. And just like almonds, they also have slightly different styles, but overall, this is what this shape looks like. So in your workbook, you have just a general picture of the nail shapes first. And then on the next page, which is number 20, it says which of the following shapes are easy for you to do. And you can mark. So since I will not be able to see your workbooks right now, I would like you to state it in the chat. So which shapes seem easy for you among the ones we just mentioned? And yes, I noticed that some of you are asking about other nail shapes such as lipstick. And yes, like I said, there are more extreme or non-standard or creative nail shapes. There's like edge, there's pipe shape, there's the one that's called like Russian almond. There's so many of them, but I would say in the salon, most likely you will get these shapes. And once you can do them, it will be easier for you to do the rest. However, we do have like the special class for extreme shapes, but I recommend to take it only once you finish the first and second level. Okay, so I noticed that most of you are mentioning square and almond, oval and almond. Every time I have a client ask if I ever do lipstick, I tell them those are show nails. Yes, well, actually, lipstick is not too hard to do. It's very similar to square. You just need to do a different kind of free edge. But yes, normally in real life, it's not very convenient, I would say, to live with these nails. And I think I only did it on the client once or twice. I did it on myself. I did it for the pictures. I did it on the models for the classes, for these pictures, for the magazines. But in real life, I think it was only once or twice when someone actually asked me for it. Ooh, Babily, thank you for sharing this picture from the workbook. Okay, so it's loading. Ooh, okay, so you actually marked all of them except for almond. Okay, so actually almond is very tricky shape. As easy as it seems, the trickiest part is to make it symmetrical. Okay, so since you guys just mentioned the ones that are easy for you, now let's talk about the next one on page 21, which shape is the most challenging for you. So I noticed that square, oval, and almond, I would say, is the easiest for you. So which one is making you feel challenged? Oh, and there's another shape I didn't mention. It's called square oval, which is also similar to the square, but in a square we have a straight line right here. Okay, so it's like just goes like this. And square oval, we have a curved line. And this is also what makes this shape a little tricky, but it looks very nice, especially if we have medium length. It looks amazing with certain styles such as French nails or baby boomer. So this is also another salon shape. I think it's just nice to know how to do it. Okay, so almond and stiletto, ballerina and stiletto, oval and almond. Stiletto. Okay, so yes, I understand that because in stiletto and almond and oval, the trickiest part is to make it symmetrical and identical on both sides, right? Because I think the most typical trouble with this one, first one is that it should be positioned compared to the nail, looking like in the direction that you like it, not to the side, not to the other side. And the second part is that both sides need to look identical. So it's very typical mistake is that when one side is straight and another one is curved. So it doesn't even look like an almond anymore. And with stiletto, it's the same. Okay, so with the different shapes, for every single shape, there is a certain technique and rule that you need to follow, how to fit the form, how to apply the product, and so on. But before we do that, I always mention how important it is to, first of all, you need to know how to properly fit the form. I have this live class dedicated to different nail shapes. And when students were coming and they already have experience, they were not beginners, once they started to fit the form, I tell them, okay, for stiletto nails, we need to fit the form which is a little lower than usual, than, let's say, square. And then I see them fit the form and I realize they don't really know how to fit it properly. And for stiletto, you need to like fit it differently. So we end up just practicing fitting the forms, and then we practice product application. Okay, so the point of what I'm saying is that, let's say if you have troubles with oval shape or almond shape, then obviously it will be too hard for you to do stilettos yet. So first you need to master square, then go to the square oval, then to oval, ballerina, almond, and stiletto. So actually in the same like sequence, you can see them in the same order. They are right here. Because when you apply like too much product on one side and less product on another one, when it's square shape, it's not going to look as obvious. Even though the C curve will be, a little uneven, but it's still going to look kind of like square. But once you do the same mistake for oval shape or ballerina or almond, it's not going even to look like almond anymore, because you have like more product on one side, less product on the other, and the shape is going to look like very uneven. So what I'm saying is product application in the terms of perfect nail shaping is everything. You need to learn how to apply product evenly, how to build the tip of the nail first, how to apply it near the cuticle, how to build the apex area, and this is the key. Okay, almond is new for me. Mira's sharing the picture. Oh, wow, that looks pretty. So I like the almond that you did on the, I believe this is the middle finger with the flowers one. But for the index finger, you need to feed the form slightly higher. And also you need to apply less product near the cuticle and along the side walls. Okay. This is my max. Getting the shape nice is a challenge. Yeah, I know. So shaping is a challenge. So what I was saying is, I understand that everyone is asking for a different shape. You want to practice all kinds of shapes. But when you're learning, I recommend you to mostly focus on square, oval, and maybe oval first. Because all other shapes, especially like coffin or ballerina, they require more skill in product application. Okay, so also for most nails, they look a little more narrow, they look nicer if you slightly pinch them. But if you pinch the nail and you have uneven application, it's actually going to make them worse. Because once again, imagine we have like an application like this. So this is what the nail should look like when we look like, oh my God, okay, just imagine this is symmetrical. And then you accidentally applied more product on one side. Okay, and another side is absolutely thin. So once you try to pinch it, this is what's going to happen. The side that is thin is going to go right here, like it's going to curve inside. Okay, and this side that's thicker is not going to do the same. It's just almost going to stay at the same spot. And as the result, we have uneven C curve, and this nail, so from the top, I mean, it could look like this. Let's say we're doing stiletto, but once it's pinched unevenly, it's going to look to the side. So it's going, to look. Okay, I'm obviously not very good at drawing, so it's not going to look straight compared to the nail. When I'm saying, so normally it should go straight in the same direction as the finger, but once it's pinched unevenly, it's going to look like it's growing in another direction. And most importantly, the shape is going to look uneven. Okay. So every shape we need to fit the form differently. Zoe is asking, yes, it is slightly different. And also form fitting is different depending on the nail type. That's the topic we covered yesterday. So there is a certain rules you need to follow to fit the form for, let's say, oval. It's very similar to square, by the way. But if you're working with nails that are growing upwards, ski jump nails, you also need to fit it differently, like lower. So this is tricky, and that's why I'm saying just imagine you decided to learn how to do stiletto and almond, and then we also have these few nail types. Like, it's almost impossible to remember and to practice it all at the same time. That's why you need to learn how to fit the form, just standard fitting, as for square or square oval or oval, it's all the same, for different nail types. And then I recommend you to proceed with the other shapes, okay? I've never pinched nails. Is that necessary always? Clara, not really. You can absolutely, if you do the proper form fitting and product application, you can do without it. But in some cases, I think it's better this way when we have wide nails. When we have nails that look like very bulky, if you do not do this. And for certain nail shapes, such as stiletto, it just looks nicer and it gives deeper C-curve. And deeper C-curve, it's not just about the look, it's making the nail stronger. So when we have nails that absolutely do not have any C-curve, and this actually comes from the natural nails. So I did not make this up. It's all comes, like some people now say, it's natural. But so seriously, it comes from the nature. So people who naturally have flat nails, usually they are less resistant to any kind of breaks and damage. Okay, but once we have curve like this, and this is also, it's all, it's science. It's actually how the bridges are built and so on. So once we have a curve, this kind of construction is more resistant to breaks. So if we have super short nails that are just slightly covering the free edge, it doesn't really matter. We can create any kind of nails, they're going to last and it's okay. But once we have medium or extreme length, such as this one, like on this cover of the workbook, then this matters. So extremely long nails are not going to last if they do not have this C-curve. And also some people who have naturally deep C-curve, usually they tend to break their nails less. Well, with the natural nails, there are other things that are important, such as what this person's eating, their like health overall. But for extensions, for nail sculpting, this rule works 100%. When we have a curve, that means this nail is more resistant to break, and it's very important when we're doing medium or long nails. So once you see these beautiful extreme shapes, I'm pretty sure you've seen them on Pinterest, on Instagram, sometimes you look at them and think, oh my God, this person is actually, like, if it's possible to live with their nails and not to break them. Yes, absolutely, if they're built correctly. Elinda, our educator, actually loves doing long nails and she always wears them. So since she builds them correctly, that's why they last. I have all the difficult shaped nails, convex, wide with a little C-curve. Wow. But that's actually, I think, a good thing. So you can practice on yourself and you will know how to work with them. Which type of nail pinches better, plastic or metal? Angela is asking. Well, most metal, like clippers, like clips that I tried, usually they're extremely hard and they tend to over pinch the nails. That's why I prefer plastic ones. Okay, Rosalind is asking, is this shape almond or oval? And we can see this picture at Nails Pro Academy now. Okay, so there are two pictures. One is, I would say, square, and the one that's pink, I would call it oval. Okay, guys, so with oval and almond, it's also very tricky. So sometimes it's obvious, like on some pictures, but on some, they're so close you can almost not tell a difference. And I would say, there's also different styles. So you can see some almonds that are very narrow and like pointy, almost like stilettos. Some elements are wider, like closer to oval. Some elements that are, I noticed they're usually called Russian style element, is the one that, like in Eastern Europe, we actually call it pipe shape. It's this dramatic deep C curve, and this shape looks like an element from the top, and it's more like a square from the side. So there's always a little confusion with the shapes. What I recommend you to do is just to understand, like, which shape is which, and whenever shape you offer, you need to have a picture of what it looks like so you can offer it to your clients. Because if you have like a tips, and examples, it doesn't work as well as when you have it as a picture on your nails or someone's nails. So I recommend you to have some kind of a catalog. It can be on your iPad or printed so you can show it to your clients and they can pick the shape that they like. Okay, let me quickly check your comments. All right. I'm curious, Lyndon is asking, for people who have crooked fingers, it may be turned in a little bit. Can you offset the nail to make the finger look straight by the way you build a nail? Yes, absolutely. So, well, it depends. So one time I worked with a client and she used to have broken finger and the bones grew back like incorrectly. And it was like extremely crooked, like one side of the finger was going to another side. And since the finger itself was crooked, it was almost like impossible to fix the nail, because technically we have like fingers looking in one side and another one is complete other direction. But if it's crooked, not as dramatic, absolutely. It's absolutely possible, and I'll tell you more. That's exactly what we need to do. That's the goal of nail sculpting. That's what we have to do, and that's the beauty of nail sculpting. We do not just attach tips and just whatever, right? We actually rebuild this. That's why, as I explained yesterday, I think forms is one of the best tools to fix it, because with the forms we can change the direction of the nail. So having one nail that's slightly like crooked is very, very typical. Most people have it like slightly. That's why when you're fitting the forms, it's your goal to make sure they're all looking in the same direction. And yes, it's absolutely possible. And I shared this yesterday, so I will be sharing it on my channel in maybe next week or two. I worked with a client who have injured finger in an accident, and her nail is growing abnormally. It's like covering the entire free edge, and we fixed it with acrylic and forms. Glorielse is asking, would you consider this shape stiletto? Yes. Well, I mean, it looks more like a pointy element to me, but yes, like if I would be speaking with a client, I would definitely call it a stiletto for them. Okay, so by the way, this is on the picture is another style of stiletto. So we just looked at another one. This one is like more traditional salon, and this is the one I usually prefer to do. It's like European or Russian style. It's longer, it's more pointy, and they look like more like needles. And I really like this one, by the way, and it's really wearable, even if you make them long, because they have this super deep C-curve inside. Okay, so now let's talk about what we actually need to do to get this perfect shape. So it includes two important steps. Number one is form fitting, and next one is product application. If only one of these parts is not properly done, you will not get the result that you like. Even if you apply the product perfectly, evenly, flawlessly, but the form was fit incorrectly, it was looking to the side, or there was a gap between the nail and the form, or it's looking extremely downwards, you will not get the result that you need. That's why it's very important to fit the form first and then do the product application. And by the way, speaking of another techniques of doing extensions, such as, let's say, tips, with tips, you also need to do the same. So if we have a finger that is slightly looking to one side, you also need to attach the tip in a way so it is going to fix this. Because, like I said, most people have these slight changes like of the growth direction on their nails. But if they have short natural nails, you cannot really see it too much. But imagine you are going to create long extensions for them, like this, with a bright color. And when the nail of this length will be having this like a different direction compared to the rest of the fingers, that will be quite visible. And that's not what we want to do, right? We want to fix that instead. And that's absolutely doable. We can fix nails that are growing upwards. Well, by fix, I mean we can make them look like they're growing straight with extensions. We cannot exactly change the direction of growth of the nails because the curve depends on these ligaments they have inside the finger. So once they're like very tense, these nails tend to grow downwards. And if they're not, they tend to grow a little upwards. And this is something we get from our birth. This is not, this doesn't mean there's something like wrong with us. This is, just like the color of our eyes, something that we have genetically. But with the power and magic of nail sculpting, we can absolutely fix all that. And like I said, this is my favorite part because it's like a challenge. So a client comes and says, okay, and usually the clients just see the picture that they like and be like, okay, I want white stiletto nails. And then if you know how to work with a product, you choose the technique that's going to perfectly fit this exact client depending on their nail type. And then you just build the stilettos that they asked for. Okay, Inga's sharing. Sometimes I struggle with crooked nails. I build it to be straight, but I tend to overfile that side to get the proper shape. Okay, yes. So overfiling is also a very typical mistake because once you apply the product, you look on the nail and think, well, there's something we need to fix, right? We need to fix the sidewall. We need to fix the free edge. You take the file and you file it. And the more you file it, you realize that probably you overdid it on one side. So like I showed you yesterday in the tutorial, in the demo, and I'm going to show it to you today as well, the secret of perfect shaping is how you apply the product from the beginning, okay? So shaping and filing is just a slight retouch. Okay, it's just how we get this perfect super crisp lines on the free edge, on the sides, maybe slightly remove the product from the top, and that's it. It's not like we're taking a mass, like an amount of product, slap it on the nail, and then we carve the perfect shape out of it with a file. Okay, that's not how it works, how it should work. We need to sculpt the actual nail with the brush, with the product. And that's my philosophy. That's what I do. You can see it from all of my videos, my tutorials. I do not really file much. And that's what I'm learning my students to do. That's how I teach application technique in my classes. That's actually the next topic for today, which we will cover a little later. It's how to work faster. Okay, so this is the example of inconsistent nail shape. If you are following me on Instagram, you definitely know this section that so many of my followers like, nail detective time. This is when I post some kinds of nails and we detect what kind of mistakes were done there. So inconsistent nail shape is a very common mistake. I try to pick examples when it's very obvious, and maybe on this picture it's a little exaggerated. Like in real life, it usually looks a little less obvious. But here, the biggest mistake is simply incorrect structure, right? The way the product was applied. So we have too much product on the free edge. That's why we cannot even see. So I assume they tried to create a coffin or like a ballerina shape, right? But it looks something in between from coffin and almond, right? It looks a little rounded. And then on this middle finger, we see that it's so wide. It's because of this excess product we have on the free edge. Also, there is too much near the cuticle, and most importantly, the thickest part of the nail is located closer to the free edge. And if we take a look at this growth line near the cuticle, we can see that these nails are probably, I would say, 1 week, maybe 10 days old, right? So it's haven't been that long, which means the apex should not move, should not be like changed its location so fast. So obviously, this nail was built incorrectly from the beginning. So when you build this incorrectly, it always leads to inconsistent nail shape. But most importantly, these kind of nails, they're not going to last. More product on the free edge means more weight to the nail on the free edge, and once this person hits something, we will have whether lifting or these nails are going to break or to have cracks on the sides. That's why proper consistency, proper application and structure is very important, and this is another key and secret to a perfectly looking nail shape. Okay. After a course with Anastasia, you will never stop to use forms. Yes, absolutely. That's what Elinda did, and many of my students did, and I would be happy if you do it too. By the way, we have, I think, at least like 20 people who joined us yesterday. Thank you guys so much for that. I hope you're watching too, and we are going to learn how to do this proper and perfect application, because my goal is to teach you how to apply the product, how to fit the form, so you will do it and you will not really need to file or struggle with any of these problems, such as inconsistent nail shape. Okay, so one of the typical mistakes that I see students are doing on the beginner's class is applying too much product. And I understand that once you're learning, you do not feel yet how much product you should take. That's why we worked on the special exercises at the beginner's class. So first, all you need to learn is how to take the certain amount of product. So we have exercises for acrylic and for gel, just picking up the product, right? So once you learn to pick the exact amount of the product that you need, then you need to learn to understand, okay, I can pick the size of the bead that I want, but how do I know how much product do I need for this nail? So you may notice that people have different, not just different kinds of nails, they have different sizes of the nails. Some people have very tiny nails, like my client Anna. You may see some of videos with her nails on my YouTube, like her hand compared to mine, I think it's like 2 or 3 times smaller, like her fingers actually end here. Well, I also have quite a big hand, but when we compare them, it's funny because they look like something like this. And some people have like bigger palms and hands and wider nails. So obviously for this kind of nails, we will need more product and bigger size of the bead of gel or acrylic. And this is also something we need to practice. So we will be also doing a special exercises with different sizes of the nails. And only after that, when you will feel like the size of the bead, the amount of product you need to take, only after that I encourage you to practice on how to apply the product and how to build the proper structure. How do you make for a longer nail bed look, or nails that have a longer bed but kind of curved down a little bit? Okay, Kathy Harris is asking, yeah, that's actually a typical kind of nail to me. So normally if they are curved down a little bit, I would say we don't really need to change it much. I recommend you to file the free edge as short as possible, because usually it's the free edge that's growing downwards. And then depending on the shape you would like to create, you feed the form slightly higher and then you build the nail. Okay, we have somebody sharing the nail shapes. I just tried these 3 nail shapes while you were talking. And we have Kate here. By the way, if you guys want to share something, to share a picture, it's possible to upload it on the website. Okay, so good job on the middle finger, on the oval shape. And then we have, I believe it's like almond shape, right? Or stiletto. And then we have ballerina. Yes, very good. So I assume you did it by practicing on the tips. And by the way, this is also a very good exercise to practice filing and shaping the nails like on the tips. But the trickiest part about it is that when you take a practice tip, like a soft gel tip or like a swatch stick, the problem is they already have this perfect shape, right? So technically you just need to file it from one side or the other. So you just need to reshape it. It's also a skill you need to acquire, but it's not as tricky. But once you take the product, apply it on the nail, it looks quite different, right? We're not working with a perfect canvas from the beginning, and this is what makes it harder. So shaping tips is easier. That's why when I started, I was working with traditional tips only. And creating a perfect oval shape or element is much easier when you're doing it with tips rather than forms. But like I said, it was covered in the first day. With tips or dual forms or soft gel tips, you are very limited. You can work with regular nails, with olive nails, with like traditional nails, but once we have some kind of challenging nails, such as nails growing upwards or downwards, or extremely short and beaten nails, or wide nails, then it will not be enough. You cannot change the direction of their growth by just using tips. You will need to use something else, which is forms. Okay, so once you know how to work with forms, you will be able to transform and work with absolutely any nail type. Okay, so if you experience this problem with any shape, just take a look at these three important bullets. So inconsistent nail shape. Form fitting is incorrect. So the reasons why nail shape can be inconsistent. First one is something's wrong with the form fitting, whether your fitting is too low, too upwards, maybe there's the gap between the nail plate and the product. Maybe the product application is uneven, or maybe you're simply taking too much product. Well, the opposite can be the reason too, not enough product, but too much product just happens more often. Okay, so this was it for the nail shapes. Okay, guys, it's been almost 50 minutes. I'm going to speed up a little bit as I promised to spend more time on Q&A. And we have another big topic coming up, which is how to work faster. And I know that everyone wants to work faster, whether you're just getting started or already have experience. So we have a certain parts of the service, right? We have nail prep. We have cuticle prep, which also includes some kind of manicure sometimes. Then we have acrylic application or gel application, depending on the product you're working with. And before that, we also have form fitting, right? We have filing and shaping, we have color application, and then we have nail art. So the secret of working faster is to eliminate time in all of them. And when people ask me like, okay, how long should this take? It's hard to say the exact amount of time because it depends on so many things. Let's say with some nails, you can do nail prep easily within 5 minutes. But with some nails, you need to take at least like 25 minutes because there's still product remaining on them. Like the cuticles are all a mess because this client tried to do manicure at home with an e-file or something else. So it's very different. But since I have a competition background and we did this calculation for every single step, like almost to a second, I can give you like approximate recommendations. So once again, if like the time you're taking now is not like I just stated here, please do not feel bad. This is just approximate recommendation to what you need to look for. So nail preparation should take about 5 to 10 minutes. Cuticle prep, this one can be very different depending on the cuticle, but I would say 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, by the way, I didn't include form fitting here, but it should also take about maybe 10 minutes. And then we have product application. We have acrylic and we have gel. I noticed that for me, gel takes slightly less time, but it also depends on what exactly we're doing, whether it's one color or inlay design or two color. So this is once again approximate. Acrylic application and gel application. Then we have filing and shaping, 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes max. Sometimes when I say this number in time, people just ask me like, what, 10 minutes? Are you sure? Like, is it even possible? Absolutely. I showed you this in a demo yesterday, and I'm going to show you this today. And then we have color application, which also depends on what color, how many layers. Is this just a color, or maybe there's another one like cat eye on the top, and you also need to use magnet. So that's going to take longer, obviously, and also we have a cure time. Okay, now I would like you to take a look at this list, and can you notice which part is taking the longest time? Like which one is obviously different? So it's application, right? Acrylic or gel application. And this is the most important part of the service. So if it's the opposite, if a person is doing acrylic application within 5 minutes, and then filing and shaping is taking 40 minutes, even without looking at the work, I can tell that the shape is not going to be as like perfectly consistent. Because if you need to file for so long, that means you have like too much excess product to file off, right? Otherwise, why do you need to file for so long if there's like nothing to file? So my idea and philosophy of work is how to work faster is that you need to eliminate the time for everything that you can, but you need to focus on product application and do it as precisely, as perfectly, as flawlessly as possible. So then you just slightly file and shape it, apply the color, and that's it. Okay. Is the form fitting 5 minutes for all 10 fingers? Yeah, so this is the time for like 10 fingers for both hands. So with gel, once again, we also have a cure time. And obviously, you will also have a little additional time, like taking the jars, taking off the dust. So I only stated the most important parts of the service, but this is how, to me, like the perfect timing would look like. For me, the cuticles take the most time, Juliana. Well, yes, working with cuticles can be tricky, but it also depends, right? Some cuticles are easy and fast to work with, but with some, it definitely needs a lot more time. I lose time with color application. Okay, that's a good, well, that's not a question, but I will treat it like one. So if you're losing time on the color, first of all, I recommend you to take a look at what colors are you using, like what products. I recommend you to pick the ones that have a great coverage with just one coat, because why should we use the products that need 3 coats if you can use the one that covers everything with just one coat? That also saves our time. If it's taking too long to create this perfect crisp line near the cuticle, then most likely you didn't perfectly clean the cuticles or buffed this area. Because if it's perfectly smooth and clean, it will not really take long. Or sometimes it can be you just do not feel confident about your color application yet, so it's just taking a little more time to do this with a brush. But this is also included in the class color application practice, because that's actually one of the things you're going to do a lot when you will be working with the clients or already working. Because You need color application when you do gel polish overlay. You need color application when you cover it on top of acrylic or gel nails or soft gel tips. So this is something you will do a lot. So when I started working back in 2004, we were using regular nail polishes. Oh my God, this actually sounds terrifying now, but when I started, there were no gel polishes yet, at least not in the market. Oh my God. Okay, now I sound so old. But anyways, applying regular nail polish, you know what it's like, right? It's not gel polish where you can fix it however you like. You need to be quick because it cures on air. And I had troubles applying black, red, all these dark and tricky colors. And I knew that. I didn't like that. But I realized I need to do it perfectly. Otherwise, I will not have any clients. So this is what I did. I asked my mom, I asked my friends, anyone who's willing to change the color of their nails every day and just come to me because I need practice. So I bought, I think, about 20 to 25 colors. And they were happy to change their colors every day by someone because they get to pick the new color, and I was just practicing. So I think it took me like a month or two, just this constant practice, and I felt confident already. But when you do it, all the time, it will get easier. So I practice on extensions on top of their nails. It doesn't matter, just this color application. But color application, I do not mention it as much during both days of this webinar, is because once you do everything that comes before it perfectly, it will not be as hard. If you have a perfect shape, if it's smooth, if you do not have any scratches after filing, the color application will come easily. But if the shape is inconsistent, if the cuticle line is uneven and bumpy, then of course you will have trouble with the color. Okay. Kiriaki is asking, is there any way to work faster when choosing how to fit the form? When you have to cut it and stick it on correctly without need to do it again and again. 5 minutes for 10 fingers look way too short for me. Not every nail is the same, even on just the same hand. Okay, guys, so this is just the perfect timing that I hope and recommend that someday, some point, you will be able to do it within this time. But if you're learning, if this is your first year, do not try to attempt it because it's like another level. So with the forms, rushing will not do you any good because first you need to learn. So I gave this example yesterday. It's the same thing as learning how to read, or let's take today another one, like learning how to walk. Okay, when small kids are learning how to walk, nobody is expecting when they're making these first baby steps to run or to do ice skating, right? That's like too early for that. First, they at least need to learn how to confidently stand. And then they're taking the small steps. Yes, they're falling, they're bumping their head into everything, but that's how the learning process is going. And only once they're confident to stand by themselves without anyone holding them, they can just walk, then they start walking a little faster. Well, actually, kids also do it faster than people should when they're learning, but that's because they do feel confident. And then they learn how to run, how to jump, and so on. And only after that, they can do other things, more complicated ones, such as roller skating, ice skating, or you know what I mean, right? So this is the same. If you're learning how to fit the form, if you understand that you still have troubles with it, sometimes you cannot fit it, do not rush. Take your time, because if you rush but do not fit the form incorrectly, you will end up having inconsistent shape or the gap, and this nail will end up breaking and you will just simply lose this client. So when you're learning, everything takes longer, and that's absolutely fine. That's just how the world works. And only when you will feel confident about the certain nail type and forms, you will get faster and faster and so on. The more you practice, the faster you will get. But, trying to do it within 5 minutes when you're just learning is exactly the same as you, I don't know, come to a ballet class or whatever class and do some dangerous trick right away, like from your first lesson. Nobody does that, right? First, we need to learn the basics. And it's the same here. Okay, so now let's do the product removal demo. And this is product removal, but as we will watch this demo, I would like to show you an example of what I mean by working faster. Okay, so let's watch this video that I pre-recorded for you. I did it on my nails. And okay, so the idea of working faster, these are quite thick nails because I already removed the length before. They are extremely outgrown. So as I file them off, I'm using a carbide bit with green abrasive mark. And this video, it's not sped up. You see the real time of it. And I just wanted to show you that one of the keys and secrets to working faster is that you need to focus on this exact part that you're doing right now. Okay, and right now I'm taking off the color first because I just want to see if we have any lifting, if we have any troubles, and yes, there is some glitter buried down there in the nail. And oops, I think the video froze a little bit. And then I see that there's no lifting, so we can carefully continue removing the nail. And once again, like in these videos where they do these crazy tricks, jumping from the buildings, I also want to assure you, please do not attempt it if you do not have experience working with e-file yet, because I am working super close to my bare nail already, and this requires some skill and expertise. So if you're just getting started, I recommend you to not go all the way to the natural nail yet. It's better if you leave some product and then continue with a hand file. Okay, so my idea was to setting a timer, but I think it took not longer than 1 minute, right? So which means product removal for 10 nails is not going to take us longer than 10 minutes. Okay, so I just did one nail and then I'm doing another one. And also I'm working on myself, and it's always taking longer compared to when we're working with a client. And I did the same. I took off the color first. I just see what's down there. Well, there's nothing, just the gel. I mean, I check if there's some lifting, some areas that we need to be aware of. And if there's nothing unusual, then we just continue taking off the product. So I turn my hand around when I'm working in the right corner because this is more comfortable to work this way. And this is how I take off the product. So once again, I focus on the product removal only. And okay, did you guys notice that I have a certain technique, that I have a certain scheme for product removal as I remove the product on these nails? Did you notice that I'm not doing any kind of chaotic movements, right? I'm not working in one corner and then another one and then another one. I always start from one side, then I proceed to the other side. Then I work a little bit on this one, and once I remove the color, I start moving a little bit more, let's call it aggressively, and removing the product from the top, okay? Which means I have a certain scheme and technique, and I follow it, and I do it on every nail, and this is what allows me to work properly and faster, okay? And this is the secret for all fast work into any part. With form fitting, with product application, with nail prep, you need to have a certain technique, a certain order that you do, and you need to follow it no matter what. And once you do it, you need to be extremely focused on this exact part that you're doing. And this is how we can make it a little faster. Okay, so I believe this is it. And Also, later today, we're going to do gel product application, filing, and shaping. Okay, green band is coarse. Felicia is asking, yes, green band is coarse. And the reason I was using a green one is because I showed you the thickness of the nails. They were quite thick because originally these were my Christmas nails, by the way, because they were quite long, almonds. And as usual, I never have time for myself. They grew so long at some point it was uncomfortable already. So I just filed them a little shorter. So the nails you just see, yeah, those were like twice short as they were originally. And then, I don't know, I just waited for a couple more weeks because I had no time, and then I did this product removal. Why sometimes the nails look bulky after color application? Fahim is asking. If nails look bulky after color, that means that they looked bulky before the color application as well. Just with the color, you can see it better. It's not possible if you had perfect slim nails and then you apply color and everything changes. Well, unless you have a color that's very thick and old, it's possible too, but most likely there was some problem with the shape before. It's just with the color it comes more obvious. But with the colors, like I said, I recommend you to choose the products that cover nail using just one coat. This is the secret for thin color application. This is the secret of working faster because you just need to apply it once. You just need to apply one coat and that's it, right? Because with 2 coats, with 3 coats, you spend more time, you do more curing time, and it's also harder to apply it better as you have more coats. Okay. I know, okay, you guys are talking about the drill bits. So would you use the same grit bit on gel lac nails or just extensions with gel or acrylic? Ivana's asking. Well, with gel polish, if they're very thick, like the ones we seen on this slide I showed you earlier with inconsistent nail shape, if we have a thickness like this, then yes, I would probably use this too, but normally no. With gel polish, usually blue band is enough. Dvor is asking, do you take hand file after this? Well, I do take hand file to only file and shape the free edge of the nail. So no, I do not use hand file on the top. However, I will need to use it because I need to take off the surface shine near the cuticle where the nails were grown. I do not do this because I can already feel these drill bits and the nail very well. And I can use this coarse bit without damaging and overfiling the natural nail. But if you do not feel confident about it yet, for beginners, for people learning how to work with e-file, I always recommend to do this first, but do not get as close to the nail as I do. Just leave a little bit and then switch to the hand file and remove it. Or, even better option, actually, if there's the product and there's no lifting, you do not need to file it all the way down to the nail. You can leave a little bit of this product there and just apply another one on top as long as it's not lifting or discolored. Okay, the reason I remove it all, I think because I had to do something from the beginning. Oh yes, I actually had to do these acrylic nails, so I can guys show it to you. And today we will be doing a similar demo, but using gel, because I also wanted to show you that it really doesn't matter which product you're using, because you can create almost any design using any product. Is gel and shellac the same? Well, usually, well, if the question is like this, yes, but normally the word gel, it means whether it means gel polish, which is the same as, well, shellac is the brand of the gel polish. And hard gel is the gel that we use for extensions, and you cannot soak it off. You need to file it off, and gel polish is the one we usually use for overlays, not for extensions, and you can soak it off with acetone. Can you recommend a brand with one color coat application? Yes. So the latest collections of Madame Glam of Model Ones have a really great colors with amazing coverage. I also tried Vetsy, but I only tried their solid gel polishes. These are amazing. Oh, and by the way, solid gel polishers have this great coverage with just one coat. I like the ones by Model One, Savilent, and Vetsy. But you really need to check out my channel on this one. I think I cannot remember what else was there, but every time I do an overview for the brand, I always mention if it's good with just one coat, and I always show a swatch with one coat or with two if it's not enough. Okay, so you guys are talking about the speed. So on this video, I was using, I think, about 22,000 rotations per minute, 22 to 25, almost top speed. And I recommend you to use about the same. You cannot do product removal with slow speeds, such as 12,000 RPMs. That's too slow. You will experience overheating, and it's almost impossible to control the carbide bit at this speed. Okay. So now I would like to talk a little bit about the class, the online class that we will be offering today. It's the same one that I also talked about yesterday. It's called Nail Sculpting for Beginners, and I was already mentioning it a little bit today during the webinar. And the reason is we just updated this course. We added some new things. We added some meetings, like Zoom meetings. I will also talk about it now. But most importantly, if you guys want to learn how to use my techniques, how to do the same nail prep, how to do product application, this is the class that covers all this. And I wanted to show you the pictures of the students' work. This is what they do after this class. And I also specifically picked the different kinds of nails. So you can see they also work with the different nail types with different models. They do slightly different designs. And these are mostly pictures of their graduation nails. Nails that we do at the end when submitting the final assessment to get the certificate. So, you know, this is just the biggest part that I'm proud of. These are gel nails, by the way, because there are so many people who like natural looking nails, you know, short nails. And this is square oval shape, by the way. It looks pretty when it's short too, right? And when you do the structure correctly, so you see this picture from the side view. So notice how thin the cuticle area is, how the sidewalls are. So this is exactly what I would like to explain. What I'm teaching on my classes is that once you build the structure, the nails are going to look gorgeous and natural looking, whether they're short like this or whether you're doing a long extreme nails. It doesn't matter whether they're long or short. The technique is the same. Okay, and this is another kind of, this is our nail extensions too. And this is the collection of Elinda certificates. So Elinda is our educator. She is here with us today, Nails of Norway, helping some of your questions on YouTube and here on Nails Pro Academy. So Elinda used to be our student. She finished almost all classes, graduated with them successfully, and this is like the small part of her collection of certificates, and now she's an educator. She will be checking your assignments because we do have live teacher feedback on our classes. It's not just watch and learn class. This is watch, get feedback from the teacher, eliminate your mistakes, work on them, submit your assignment again, and finally fix your mistake and get certificate type of class. And this class includes both acrylic and gel. So if you fulfill both modules of acrylic and gel and submit both final assignments to those, you will get 2 certificates. If for some reason you decide not to take one, let's say you're allergic to acrylic, that's fine. But 80% of the information is still the same. You still need to know how to fit the forms, how to prep the nails, how to file and shape the nails, how to apply the color, and it's all identical for both technologies. The difference is only in product application part. And also this class includes form fitting mini ebook, and we have 16 lessons on form fitting because, as you already know from today's class and yesterday, form fitting is extremely important. If something is wrong with this part, then all the rest may not be as effective because the structure simply will not be on point. That's why we have detailed lessons on how to fit the form for different nail types, for nails growing upwards, for nails growing downwards, explanation on how to cut and fit the form so it is going to fit properly. And finally, we have international students chat, and I already see some students that are in this chat already. And by the way, you will get a lifetime access to it once you take any class at Nails Pro Academy. So you will stay there for life with us, and this is where you can interact with other students. So this is not a live stream class like this webinar. This is a pre-recorded class, which means lessons are available anytime. You can just watch it depending on the perfect time that is for you for learning. Some people prefer to do it at night. Some people prefer to do it during lunch break. It's up to you. You can watch from any device. You can create your own schedule, which means you can take class, let's say, every Monday and Wednesday, or you can do it on the weekends. It's up to you. You will have enough time. You will have 6 months to pass this class, which is enough. And some people even do it faster, like within 2 months or 3 months. Then you will get the feedback from the teacher. Then you pass the quiz. You can connect with students in the chat. Then you submit the final assignment and get the certificate. So this updated class includes so many topics. I only included the most important of them here because if I state all of them, it will not simply ever fit, even in a few slides. So it includes product chemistry, product application, tips and overlay, nail sculpting troubleshooting, how to sculpt the nail using 3 beads, when working with acrylic, and how to do it in 2 steps when doing hard gel extensions. We will do many exercises on how to take the certain amount of product, like I explained to you earlier. Because, if I just tell you, okay, let's take the form and let's do extensions, and you never done this, or you did, but you do not really understand how to apply the product evenly and perfectly, it will not make sense. We start from the very basics. I want you to learn how to feel the product, how to pick the gel so you will not have bubbles inside, how to put the gel on the nail so it will be placed in the right spot, how to hold the client's finger so it's not going to flood the cuticle right away or run to the sides and make it look wide and flat. So we will learn form fitting for different nail types, not enough filing versus too much filing, how to find the perfect balance, filing and shaping, of course, and filing application. Okay, and this is the screenshot from the story one of our students share. And I showed you the nails of our students, but obviously they mostly share their fresh works they just did. And this is an outgrown hand, 2 to 3 weeks, and no lifting next to the cuticles. Thank you, Nails Pro Academy and Nailcou. So to me, this is a great feedback, and you can really see what the nails should look like after 2 to 3 weeks. This outgrown line, and it's very thin and it's almost not visible. It still looks nice. And also it's nude color, so you can almost not really tell that they're outgrown. Okay. Oh, and I also wanted to share this testimonial from Shalonda because she, I just like the way she explained this feedback for this class, that I enjoy being placed out of my comfort zone and rising to the occasion of overcoming my sculpting challenges. I had several struggles, with the primary being form application, followed by placing the apex in the same place for every nail. Yes, this is quite a typical mistakes. And making sure your nail shaping was done well. I learned lots of new techniques that I didn't learn at school since we only dealt with acrylic application. Also enjoyed learning how to deal with the gel application in general. I would highly recommend this course to anyone wanting to explore how to properly apply a gel set. Okay, and you can also, if you would like to read more testimonials, to see more of the students' works, you can do it on our website or on my Instagram or Facebook page. And this class was available for many years now, but we just updated it, and we update it every year because there are new technique, new things that I want to add. So this is what I added like right now this year. Detailed product application practice. It includes both acrylic and gel application. I also added modules on health, sanitation, and nail business, because learning how to do perfect nails is important, but I also want you to learn how to take a nice picture or a video, because I have so many students, they do great, amazing nails, but once they take a picture, it looks so dark and blurry. I'm like, I feel sad because I know that these pictures are not attractive to their clients. And, to change that, I simply added this module. So now you guys will have an idea on how to do this. So these new modules includes topics like how to attract clients, sanitation, disinfection, and salon safety, and nail technicians' health and well-being, like how you should sit, what you should do to avoid allergic reactions, because it's better if you know it from the beginning. Okay, let me quickly switch. And like that you talk about health, because that's so important and many forget about cholera. Exactly. So since this class, we're doing online classes in English since 2016, and we've been doing this in Russian language since 2012, so that's like 12 years. And with every single student, with every single graduation, I very closely read the feedback. And by the way, we do not delete any feedback, so you can also read. Sometimes there's something that people didn't like. And I always pay attention to that and think what we can add, what we can improve. And I realized that nail technicians' health is an important topic that should be in the class for beginners. That's why it's there now. Okay, and my favorite part that I really wanted to add, and I finally did. So we already had this first one, students only live streams with me every month. And they mostly covered business topics, like in December we had one, how to get fully booked during holiday season. And the one I'm thinking next, actually for this class, is about how to set up your price list, because I noticed that there are so many questions about them, how you should set up the price list, how much you should charge, like for nail sculpting, for fill, and so on. But sometimes if we get many questions regarding certain technology or products, sometimes our topics are related to nails. Like there was one topic when we talked about working with hyperhidrosis with oily nails. So sometimes we do topics like this. So this live stream is very similar to this webinar, but it's for students only. And you also have the chat when you can ask questions. And also, I really wanted to add this one because I want to make it as close as live education as possible. Zoom meetings every month. So you will have 6 meetings with me and other students, and we will be able to chat and interact just like in real life. I think we will also pick a topic for every meeting, and everyone will be able to talk, to ask something. So I really look forward to this because I want to be honest with you guys, I miss live interaction because ever since pandemic, there's been less live classes, live shows. I've been to some, but still, I kind of do not get enough of this. And we have students from all parts of the world, and from some countries I've never even been to. So I would love to have something that makes us a little bit closer, and more connected. And also in these Zoom meetings, we will do troubleshooting and Q&A, because sometimes you may have some problem, struggling going through this certain task or assignment, or, a general problem such as you cannot motivate you to redo this assignment that was just declined by a teacher, we can also talk about that. So like the goal of these meetings is like also to motivate each other to interact, because I know how important it is. When I started, nobody really supported me. My grandma was, I know, she hated the fact that I was doing nails. She said, when you will finally get a real job, not just trimming dirty people's toes. I was like, I don't even do toes. I don't do pedicure, but whatever. And this kind of attitude I had with most of, people in my circle. That was quite upsetting. And I understand that, but that's okay because, if you have, if you know some people who have the same passion as you, we can totally motivate each other and support each other and so on. Oh, and this is I think the screenshot from one of the live meetings that we had. I was explaining how to learn properly, that you need to work consistently, because if you do not use the information you just learned, like on this webinar, 95 of this information will be gone within 3 days if it's not used. Okay, so let's quickly recap. So this class includes 6 months access, 75 CEU credits. If you're in the US, you can use this credits towards renewing your license. You will get teacher-graded assignments, 2 certificates, acrylic and hard gel, international students chats, monthly live streams, and Zoom meetings. Okay. So, and of course, we do have a webinar special. This class starts on February 20, by the way, so you will have enough time to buy products, to get ready, to clear up your schedule, and then you'll have 6 months. And if you go to our website now, nailsproacademy.com, you can find this class, you can read about it, but we have a regular price there. And the special deal, the discounted price, which is available for a limited time, is available only on the page of the webinar now at Nails Pro Academy. So if you scroll a little bit under the video, you will see this deal there, and this is where you can join this class. Okay, I think I'm doing much better with the timeline today, and now let's do the gel application demo, and then if you will have any questions about the class, we can also talk about it, and definitely let's do Q&A. Okay, let's turn on the video with gel application, and this is my nail. Oh, I showed the prep yesterday, so if you missed it, you can also watch the replay. And I will be using forms as usual, and we will be doing gel nails. Since I'm working on myself, you can see my other nails that I did before, and also we are doing almond shape. So I feed the form, then I apply dehydrator, and then I add primer. Even though this video is edited, I mean, obviously I eliminated parts when I'm like reaching for the jar. This is not sped up once again. So all the moves that I'm doing with the brush, these are real time. Then I apply base coat and we cure it for 30 seconds in LED. And then I'm going to build the tip of the nail. And I'm using milky gel. Most of the time in real life, I use clear gel. Because, for some inlay designs, it just look more transparent and nicer, but I wanted to make sure that you guys will be able to see all the details. And also for this design, I think white is going to look great. So I decided to use white. So I make sure that gel is connected with my nail on one side as well as on the other, and then I build the tip. So unlike acrylic, where we are kind of in total control of the product, with the gel, if you leave gel for a long time on a certain spot, it's going to move. So with gel, you need to take control. You need to show the gel where you would like to apply it, if it makes sense. So I just build the tip of the nail. It's kind of the same as we use the regular tip, right? I just build it myself with the form. Then I apply the gel on the surface, and I think this is the same milky gel. And since I'm doing almond shape, you can also notice that the form I'm using, it's tapered at the end. And I'm going to use this shell. So I added more gel in the middle, and I'm not curing this because I want to put this shell on top, and then I cure it. And make sure that you have a gel underneath to avoid bubbles. Okay, and then I outline this shell again and add some flakes because it's going to look more like this shell was crushed or something. And also I think this color is very similar to this other shell that I added. And this design looked nice. So I didn't have intention to do the exact same design as I did with acrylic nails, but it's the same, similar style. You cured between. Yes, so I cured the shell, and then I cured these flakes, because if you apply gel on top of uncured shell, it's going to move. And I also cured the clear, and this is oh my God, what's the name? Like a transparent green, like a jelly brown, color of gel that I added around the shell. And then I take this small detailer brush and do something, I don't even know how to call it, like, it's not really an ombre, I just do these chaotic movements with the brush to make it look like a cloud, like a faded look in some ways. And I also have an uncured clear gel on underneath, and that's why it looks like this, like a smoke. And then I add some flakes on top because I decided it's not enough. It's like never enough glitter and hollow and rainbow in our life, so it will never, it's not going to spoil anything. And then I freeze cure it for 10 seconds and apply the gel on top, and we are going to seal it. Okay, so for sealing, obviously I'm going to use a clear gel. And then I want you to show something. Okay, so I took quite a lot of gel, and you see, as I apply it to the cuticle, I do not go too close yet. You can see that there is a little margin between the cuticle and the gel, because if you apply it too close to the cuticle right away, by the time you work on the apex, by the time you work on the free edge, it's going to move even closer and flood the cuticle. So this was not enough, so I took a little bit more to add to the apex and to the free edge. And just like with acrylic application with gel, I have the exact same goal: to do the color application that is not really going to need too much filing and shaping. And then I cure it for 1 minute. So I didn't pinch it, I just take off the form, and now I want to show you this nail from all angles. So it does need a little filing and shaping, especially on the free edge. And then I take off the sticky layer to do this, but that's it, right? Do you guys agree? It doesn't really need that much filing and shaping because I did not apply too much from the beginning. I applied almost the exact amount that we need. So whether you're working with acrylic and gel, you will always need to slightly shape the free edge and the sidewalls to make them more crisp, to make the lines more straight. And ideally, that should be it. So to be honest with you, I rarely use file, like a nail file, hand file, when filing gel nails. I usually use just the buffer. So this is 180 grit buffer, and this is what I normally use to shape the nails. With acrylic, it depends. It depends on the design. Sometimes I also use just the buffer. Sometimes I use file if there's something to file. Okay, so most filing that I need to do is near the cuticles. I just want to make sure that it's all nice and smooth, and I also want to file the sidewalls to make sure that they're straight, they're smooth, and this is how we get this element shape, and then I seal it with a top coat. This is what the nail looks like underneath, and we are done. Okay, so what do you guys think about this tutorial? And the thing I wanted to bring your attention to is that with the proper application, it doesn't matter whether it's acrylic or gel, it's absolutely possible to do it in such way where you will need only to file it for 10 to 15 minutes. By the way, in your workbook, you have these pages, like it's up to you whether you want to fill them or not. But if you want to point something out, like with the application, the way I was applying the bead, I added this picture so you can use it like as a scheme, and then you can add some notes right here. Any brand recommendations for gel, Alyssa's sharing? Well, I really like Red Iguana gel. I really like this base gel by Pottle. I like bottle gels by In Vogue. What else? They're actually quite young nails. They have really nice gels. There are a lot of good ones recently. I mean, few years ago, I was very picky about the gels, and there were not much gels that I liked, but today, I don't know, companies are doing really good, and there's so many of them that I really like. What kind of gel do you use? I think the clear one that I use is by Pottle, and the milky one, honestly, I don't remember. It was whether Valentino or Russian brand called Cosmoprofi. What kind of gel did you use? Polygel. What's the difference between polygel and builder gel? Okay, so polygel is a different kind of product. It's much thicker, and once you apply it, it looks like acrylic. And I didn't show it in tutorial today. And hard gel is more like a gel consistency. Like once you touch it with a brush, it moves. So it's like a thinner consistency. So it works differently than polygel. But polygel is another great product. So the difference is mostly in their consistency and in the way you should apply them. What primer and base coat do you use? Oh my God, guys, I didn't expect this kind of questions. So the primer, I was non-acid, and I think on this tutorial I used a non-acid primer by Anastasia. And the base coat, so I really like the base coat by Cuba. And there's another one by Polish brand, it's called Neo Nail. I also like this one. So honestly, it doesn't really matter. You can use any base coat that is designed for gel or for gel polishes. I prefer thin consistency base coats, and almost all of them are pretty good. So I noticed there are many questions about the products, and that's understandable. But with gels, the difference between gels is mostly in consistency. You just need to find the consistency that works for you. And then how long the nails are going to last, how pretty the shape looks, it only depends on the way you apply it. Milky gel is definitely easier to see on camera. Yeah, that's exactly why I picked it. So originally, I was thinking of some kind of, clear, transparent inlay design. But then I just know what it looks like when I apply it on the black form or any other form. You cannot really see it on the video. So I just picked one that you guys will see. Do you wipe off with acetone or alcohol? It was alcohol. But since this is gel, you can use acetone too. Sometimes when I apply the gel to the corners of the free edge, it moves and won't stick there. Nicole is sharing. Yes, so that's why you also need to follow the certain technique. So first I take the certain amount of gel, and then I make sure that it's connected. Let me switch to another camera. Okay, so I take this gel. Okay, well, like a certain amount of gel. Here's the brush. And then I move it like this with the brush to make sure it's connected with the sidewall. And it should go a little further. And then I do the same on this side and make sure, well, maybe not that much, but goes a little further than the sidewall. Because then you can just slightly file it with just one move of the file. But if it will be right here, not enough to cover the entire nail plate, then you will be in trouble. There's no way you can fix that other than add the product. Okay, so if you feed the form properly, then you will not have any troubles with that. If you feed the form and there's the gap between the nail and the form, then yes, you may experience this problem. Technically, the gel is like not connecting to the nail. So you see everything is connected. You did something wrong with the form fitting, you will have troubles with product application. You did something wrong with the nail prep, you will struggle with product application near the cuticle. So everything is connected. So that's why I recommend you to fill in this page 22. So in which of the following services are you most experienced? So let's say you do not have any problems with color application or nail art, and then which one you think require more practice of work. Okay, so once you understand which one you need to work on, you will have like a better plan for your improvement for your work. Okay, can we use the same primer for gel and acrylic too? Yes, well, some brands have separate primers, like there's a brand Anastasia, and they usually create the certain primer for a certain line. So they have Balance, which is like gel line, they have Balance primer for it. Then they have Attraction, which is acrylic line, and they have Attract primer related to it. But most brands have just one primer, and yes, it works both for acrylic and gel. So most primers can be used for all of them if this is non-acid primer. Okay, Tamara's sharing. Is this how Apex should be? Oh my God, I clicked on something else. I should be looking. Okay, well, I would add a little bit more. It looks pretty good, but considering the nail you just created is medium length, I would add a little bit more to the very center. Okay, and then we have Calera sharing. This was my results. Okay, so you're good in gel application, color application, and nail art, and need to work on nail prep, cuticle prep, acrylic application, filing, and shaping. Okay, good job. So, guys, filling this workbook is important. By the way, what you guys think? Because this is the first time we ever did this workbook. So, do you enjoy working with this? Like, is it easier? Because I don't know. How about you? I enjoy doing this. All these marks, I don't know, it reminds me of some kind of learning. Well, maybe it's because I'm a fan of learning, but seriously, it's very helpful. So I was working a lot on it. I was actually working on this for almost 4 weeks, because once you understand and detect what you need to work on, you already have a plan. Because it's not the same as you just watching this webinar and you're, oh, okay, I do have troubles with product application. I need to work on this someday. But now when you have this written, that's different. Once you have something written, it's more likely you're going to turn it into action. Okay, I wanted to show. So we are not going to work together for the rest of with this workbook. So it's up to you if you decide to fill it completely. So there are some questions about your goals, and I mean, it's up to you. You don't have to share it like with me. Well, if you decide to, you can post it. It's more like for you, like a personal journal for your plans. And I really encourage you to actually write it down, or if you're using it like on the iPad, or just write somewhere down like your goals. It's very powerful when you actually write them. Think about it, like what do you want to do with your nail career? Do you want to maybe open your salon in the future, or to become a nail blogger, or become a brand ambassador? Maybe you want to travel the world and continue working like me, or become a nail educator. Maybe you would like to teach someday. And once you set these goals, you can also feel like which skills you need to achieve that, and how can you acquire the skills, like an actual steps. And also, since I'm kind of an action kind of person, okay, I want something, I need to work on this goal right now. I even added like a 2 months of this calendar here, February and March, because they're coming. And you can write down some of your plans, like maybe you are going to practice product application or something else, or learn. Or if you decide to join the course, it starts on February 20 right here. So, like I said, it's up to you, and if you want to fill this workbook completely or not. But once again, if you want my professional advice, like how to achieve something, how to, make something great out of your career, go from nail technician later to like another level, then I recommend you to take the most that you can from every single education, every single class that you take. So I never liked learning in school or university. It was boring, okay? But once I was taking classes about nails, about marketing, like social media, I was like a nerdy student. I was feeling and writing everything down. I was fulfilling every single homework because I was really focused and interested, and most importantly, I wanted to learn. I wanted to achieve this goal. So if this is something you would like to do too, I recommend you to fill it until the last page. Great workbook. Thank you so much. Where can I purchase the shell art shown in your gel application demo? Allison. Okay, so I suspected that this kind of questions will also have them. So this is what it looks like. And I'm pretty sure you will find it all over Amazon. Well, I can look for it if you want later and share it in my stories, but I'm pretty sure you will find it yourself. So this one is called flat or rolled shell. Okay, there's a crushed shell that usually comes in a jar. So this one is like pressed shell. The ones I used for this nail, for this gel nail, is this one. It's like white. And then I also have this another mint one. By the way, I believe this one Akisa gave me, our educator from Tennessee. I think she gave me because she has trillions of beautiful nail art. So it's like it comes like this on the paper. So all you need to do is just to separate it. Then you can crush it however you want into small pieces, and then you just apply it on the nail. So it's pretty simple to use. And the flakes, well, they just look like this. They're also, you can definitely find them on Amazon and websites similar to this, or AliExpress. Someone who promotes nail brands on social media. Oh, what is a brand ambassador? Yeah, so this is actually a very popular, career, let's say today. So every brand, especially big brand, beauty brand, nail brand, they're always looking for content creators or for ambassadors, a person who is going to present their brand. So what you do, yes, you whether create a content for them, tutorials or product reviews, or just record how their product work, or you do some special kind of videos and photos for them. And I want to assure you guys, like I get on my email, I get new emails, like 5 to 6 emails every day asking if I would like to review this brand or that brand. But recently I decided I'm going to do less of that, because at some point I was doing this a lot, like a review brand machine. But then I just realized that I like doing this and I will do this, but I'm going only to pick brands that I'm really interested in, only the ones that I think, were the ones that maybe you were asking, and also I would like to be aware and to know, which brands are good or which ones are bad, which one you can use for certain things. But this year and next year, I would like education to be my focus, these classes, webinars, because this is what I like the most, okay? So this is what I will be doing more. Are we supposed to send the pages 28, 29 to someone, Calera? No. If you want to, unless you want to share it in social media or with me, you can do this. But no, I would say 28 and 29 are definitely just for you, for your work, and no, we're definitely not asking you to show them. Alrighty, so last call for nail sculpting online class, because once we finish this class, and then we'll have, I believe, like 1 more day for replay, 2 more days, for replay, and then the special deal will be gone. So if you've been thinking maybe I should join this class one day, You will be able to do it later, of course, but the price is going to be regular. So we always give the lowest price when we have a presentation of the new updated course, and this time is now. So if you're hesitating, if you're thinking, I strongly recommend you to take this deal now, you can find this button under the video on this video page of the webinar, and I would love to see you among my students. I would love you to be my next case, to be your artwork presented here on some of the next webinars. I would like, to be proud of you as my next student. And as I already mentioned, you will have 6 months access. You will get teacher-graded assignments from Melinda. We will meet on my live streams. We will meet on Zoom meetings. You will get 2 certificates. And wow, I am actually super excited for this part, because this is going to be the first class like this. And we already had some students that already passed the same class, but like some time ago, and now they're joining again. And by the way, if you are one of those students, if you already took this class like 3 years ago when it was different, do not forget to, you can place the order, but then please reach out to our team, so we will give you another extra special discount for our students. Okay, so now another question, because I know you're going to ask about it, and then I'm willing to answer your questions, guys. How to get certificate today for this class. So you will need to follow the link in your email. Since we have a big mailing list, we have over 1,500, I think, people registered for this webinar. So please do not worry. It may take a little while to get it delivered to you. And then just make sure that you log in at nailsproacademy.com with the same email that you used for registering for this webinar. So if you're watching this webinar on the website, you are already logged in. Then you need to fill the quiz, and this is when you will get your certificate. If for some reason you haven't registered yet, you still have time to do it quickly now, but then you will only have 24 hours to fill the quiz. But if you watched this class today and yesterday, you will not have any problems answering all these questions. Okay, let's do the questions. Which gel polish will you suggest? Okay, one of the recent gel polishes that I like are Model 1's Madame Glam. I love Solid gel polish by Saviland, by Vetsy, by Model 1's is also great. Okay, so this is, I think, the brand I really enjoyed working recently. What type of brown gel did you use in the design? Okay, the brown gel is by Vanalisa. So I had this huge kit. They sent me about 50 colors, and there were 5 jelly colors included. And there was one which is brown. But if you do not have brown jelly color, you can also create it by yourself. You can simply, whether you can take regular brown and mix it with a base coat, or you can use like a stained glass paint and also mix it. So there's actually a way to create it. How do you like dual forms? Alyssa's asking. I like dual forms. We also have a class about them, by the way. I use them when I need to do something fast, when I have a client with nails that are growing straight, like normal nails, olive nails. Then this is when I use them. Sometimes they're also great for some inlay marble design. So I do like them and use at a certain times. But I do not use them all the time, because sometimes for certain clients, obviously forms or even no forms will be a better option. Either also a course only on form fitting, Natalie? No, we do not have a separate course on that, because it's like I want to teach you, to show you the whole system. I want you to be able to create perfect nails. If you learn only form fitting and not learn like the product application or something else, it will not be full. So we decided not to do these small separate classes, even though I'm pretty sure they will be popular and people will be buying them because, you know, the separate small sections. But I'm just interested in overall education. That's why form fitting is included, because like I said, everything is connected. You need to do proper nail prep, then you need to fit the form, so that's why this is part of the class. Which buffet would you recommend? Well, I really like the seafood, but I assume you were asking about the buffer. So which buffer? I really like Entity buffers. They actually have a great 180 buffer. And yes, that's kind of rough for a buffer, but I use it a lot for shaping gel nails. And they also have a great 2020, 2080. But most of the small buffers, single-use buffers that I use, they're no name. I'm not even sure which brand it is. I buy them on this. We have this Chinese market, and I'm pretty sure they sell everything that's also on AliExpress. So I don't even know their brand name. Does expensive and cheap nail brushes have difference? Yes. Yes, so if we are talking about acrylic brushes, then definitely. Cheap brushes, sometimes they do not hold the shape as well, so expensive brushes simply may serve you longer. As for synthetic or gel brushes, it depends. So there are some okay affordable brushes for nail art, for hand painting. But if you are talking about gel and acrylic brushes, usually the ones that are a little bit more expensive are better. But, you know, it depends, like with any product. Okay, let me take a couple questions from the YouTube. Karina, if you buff gel too much, do you get lifting when you apply gel on top? Well, yes. I mean, if you use a very soft buffer like 600 and you technically buff it to a high shine, then yes, the gel, any gel, color gel, regular gel, hard gel, the gel do not like a shiny, smooth surface. Gel adheres to the surface that's more textured and matte. So if the surface of your nail is like this, like almost shiny, then yes, the color may be chipping from it, absolutely. As well as the top coat. Krisha's asking, when working on natural nails, if the end side is really wide from the cuticle and it's unable to narrow it down, how make it look even for extension and gel polish both? Oh, okay. Well, that you just need to choose the shape that's going to work with them. Usually it's almond or coffin, and you just do not cover it completely. I can actually explain this to you. And okay, so since I'm not very good at painting on the paper, I will use this workbook that I have. Okay, so what you explained, I think you meant that usually this nail is wide like this, right? So if you do a square shape or oval shape, usually it's going to look like even wider. So I recommend you to do whether almond or coffin shape, and ideally it should be a little longer. So this is how you will, kind of like narrow it down. And then when you apply the color, if you will apply the color right here too, once again, it's going to look wide, like this part is going to look wider. So instead, you actually leave a margin right here and cover only this part. And here, we have a naked nail that is not covered. Okay, maybe it's a little confusing on this picture. So let me... Okay, so we have a nail that looks like this. Right? And then, well, usually it's not like exactly like this, but okay. We do extensions. And all you need to do is simply to not cover a little bit on both sides. And I think you can even see it from this picture, right? It doesn't look as wide anymore because this part is left out. And usually this part is still going to be covered with the sidewalls, this part of the naked nail that we hide it. So it will not be visible. Do not worry about this. Like we have this beautiful purple or red color right here, and this part is hidden anyways. So this is how we can fix the shape. Re-asking, Leslie, are gels and acrylics unsafe if one is pregnant? Well, that's a tough question, and I always try to avoid this question because I personally do not have enough information on this one. I still do not have enough information on actual research on this topic. That's why I'm not sure I can give you an actual expert advice on this. So if we're talking about pregnant clients, then yes, I know some clients that are still doing extensions. But if we're talking about pregnant nail technician, I will think it depends. Everything is it depends on the person. Sometimes with the pregnancy, the person feels good and it's okay, but for some people it's more tough. So I will always consult with their personal doctor. Like I said, I cannot give any advice. I know many nail technicians who's been working almost until the day of their labor. I had a client who came to me and she's like, oh my God, it's about to happen, but can we quickly do my nails? Because I cannot imagine doing this without pretty nails. And I was like, can you just imagine the level of my anxiety as I was doing this? But luckily we finished on time. So I think, it's always up to a person, but I will definitely ask the doctor this question. So you just need to understand how you feel. However, I did have many pregnant clients who's been doing overlays as a client, and I don't think there is any problem in this one. Okay, Anastasia, which gel polish you gave us? They're lasting on natural nail. Okay, so the brands I already mentioned with gel polishes, Model Ones, Saviland, Vatsy, Madame Glam. I also like Chiara Sky, some collections, but not all of them, because some colors, I cannot say I like all of them. Some of them are good. I also like Valentino gel polishes, but I only tried a few colors. As a nail tech, pregnant or not, you have to take care of your health. Use proper table and chair. Use dust extractor. Have proper ventilation. Yes, thank you, Inga. I 100% agree. Pregnant or not, we need to take care of ourselves because, we're working a lot. We're sitting on this table, having this dust. And yes, you need to protect yourself 100% at all times. Have a special mask. You need to wear special clothes. They're not the same, the clothes that you wear when you go home, because, it's like doctors. We have a special professional outfit for that. Srishti is asking, ma'am, if a client comes for refills and earlier she had acrylic, so we can do refill with gel or vice versa? Yes, absolutely. You can do refill with gel, polygel, with acrylic, and vice versa, 100%. I do it all the time. And because technically, chemically, this is the same product. Is Valentino gel polish, you tried one coat or two? So I have a couple colors of them which are jelly colors. So with them you definitely need 2 coats all the time. And then I have, I think, a white and magenta there have a pretty good coverage with just 1 coat. So I think it depends on the collection. Is there a dust vacuum you would recommend? Well, honestly, I haven't tried so many of them, but I have this Melody Susie. It's small, it's portable. And for me, it's perfect because it's it fits on the table. I can easily travel with this, so it works for me. However, if I had a place that I work all the time, I would say permanent, like working space, I think the dust collectors that are built in the table are great because usually they're more powerful. Karina's asking, what would cause product shipping on the free edge only on natural nails and overlays? Peeling nails in proper nail prep. Sometimes nails are curving on the corners, and this is what causes chipping. So I just recommend you to use non-acid primer on the free edge before applying gel polish, or you can use hard gel instead. But yeah, that's a very common problem. Is it important to offer both gel and acrylic? Norma is asking. Well, actually, if you can work only with one product, let's say gel, you still can do pretty much everything as long as you know how to fit forms. So no, I think it's okay if you know just one. If you know both, it will be easier for you to do different kinds of designs and challenges, but it's still possible with one. I'll tell you more. Clients, they don't really care much and they don't really understand the difference. So when we come to a dentist, do you really know the exact product and technology they're using to do these fillings? We don't know, right? I just want my teeth to not be like black or to feel this pain. I just want my teeth to be healthy. That's all I know, right? I do not ask for like a certain brand they're going to use. And I think it's the same with nail technicians. We have a client and they come to us and they say, okay, I want almonds. I want them with a silver glitter. And that's it. And it's up to you which technology you use. Gel, acrylic, forms, tips. Well, I mean, with soft gel tips, it can be different depending on what client wants. But let's say if they want inlay design, like I just showed you on this webinar, right? I showed you how to do this with acrylic and gel. So you can choose any of those, but you would definitely choose forms because, it will be not possible to do it with soft gel tips because with soft gel tips, you will need to add more volume on top. So one technology is enough, but the more technologies you know, the more options you have. Blue Sky is good. Well, honestly, I was very suspicious about this brand all the time, but wait a minute. Was it Blue Sky? Oh, no, that was not Blue Sky. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know. I haven't tried them to have an actual opinion because there was another Chinese brand. Oh, well, I think Vanalisa, and there was another one that I felt, well, it's kind of, maybe it's not, Born Pretty. Oh, Born Pretty. Okay, that's another gel polish that I like. They have a great coverage. And I, wasn't feeling very secure about this brand. I don't know why. But then I tried them and I loved it. I love their packaging. I like the way they work. And they also have this MSDS information and everything. So I actually changed my mind. And also they're quite affordable. I have a review on my channel, so I was quite surprised. Zoe is asking, when I e-file extensions, I wear a face covering to not inhale the dust. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just the chat is running so fast. But if I put goggles on, they stream up quickly and I take them off and I end up leaving productized a lot. Do you know that's very dangerous? I focus, wash my eyes immediately, but you understand it's not convenient. Okay, yeah, I understand your problem. And I had the same too. So try this. Once you put the face mask, put it not like all the way up, just a little bit like this. That's quite enough, right? Because we technically only need to cover the nose. So try the face mask right here. And then when you take goggles, well, I don't have them now to show you, but do not put them too close like you would when you're doing skiing, right? Or like diving. Do not put them like too close to your eyes. Just put them a little down, like on this, kids' books, like all this older ladies, sometimes this is how they hold their glasses. So just try to do it like this. And this is how you will avoid your breath to go there and This helped me a lot. Or there is also a special spray for divers, somebody, for diving. I recommend me to it, and when you put it on Google, that's not going to happen. Honestly, I haven't tried that because this technique actually helped me. Or there is also another one, there's a screen that covers the entire face, and you just use it without the face mask. Are all builder gels hard gel? Okay, so hard gel is the name for the gel that's for extensions and the one you can take off only by filing it off. You cannot soak it off. And builder gel usually is the name for gel with medium to thick consistency. So I noticed that sometimes brands call builder gel the soak-off gel with thicker consistency, so no, not all builder gels are necessarily hard gels. Can we use the builder gel base for gel polish? Well, no, I do not recommend you to do that. You can do the opposite. Gel polish base coat can be used for any kind of gel, for soft gel tips, for polygel, for any kind of gel with the word gel on it. But the opposite I will not recommend, because base coat for regular gels, usually it's almost also the same as hard gel, okay? And the soft gel, it's softer, it's more flexible, so there's going to be a conflict, right? Just imagine you put something hard on your nail, like an eggshell, and then you put something soft on top. Not a good idea. Born Pretty is lasting on natural nail? Yeah, I didn't have any problems with that one. I usually skip base coat. I'll try to add it next time. Okay, so this technology, like traditional, when we have dehydrator, non-acid primer, then we have base coat. So sometimes with perfect nails, with regular nails, you may skip some of the parts and you will not experience any problems. But once you face challenging nails, or a client who like picking their nails or biting them a little bit, or doing something like, I don't know, this, then this is the moment when they may experience some problems with their nails, lifting or peeling. And this is the moment when you do not want to skip any of the parts, whether it's dehydrator, primer, base coat, or anything like this. I thought polygel was a really thick hard gel. Well, technically, they have the same chemistry base, so it's kind of like this, but I would also say it's not just thickness. So hard gels, some of them have a very thick consistency, almost like a jelly. And you still need to use the brush to apply it. But with polygel, you also use an alcohol or a special polygel liquid, so it's not going to stick to the brush, and you apply it more like an acrylic kind of application. So they also have a different kind of applying them. With the gel, your brush is always connected with it, and with polygel, the brush is molding it, like with acrylic. So that's the main difference for me. Have you ever heard of Indian brand Glam? No, I heard of Madam Glam, but Glam, no. Is Magic Remover safe for removing gel polish for natural nails? No. Please watch my video on YouTube. It's called, just type in the YouTube search bar, something like Nailcou Magic Gel Polish Remover Review, and I explained that no, it's absolutely not safe, and it includes some terrible ingredients like caustic acid or something like that. So no, you can only use this if you want to strip the color from the swatch sticks, like you did this design or the color, and then you're like, oh, I hate it. This is the only time when you can use it, but not on naked natural nails, please. How about using gel-based coat to stick nail tips? Regular glue does not last. Well, if regular glue does not last, that means something was wrong with the fitting tips with prepping them. It's not about the glue. Nail glues are pretty much the same, and I haven't seen a bad one. If it's not lasting, there is something wrong with the technology itself. First of all, when you attach the tip, you should apply it at a very, very free edge of the tip. So the less connection with the product, the better. And the rest you're going to build with the product. You need to etch the tip. You need to prep it. You need to pick the size that perfectly fits the size of the nail. If the tip will be smaller, it's going to work like as if you try to fit in jeans that are 2 times smaller than you. You know, there is a technique to squeeze them, like if you lay down, but then, you know, at some moment, one of these buttons, there will be a disaster. And that's what can happen if you fit the tip that's smaller than the actual nail. So, no, I do not recommend using gel base coat. First of all, it's not designed for this. Second, you will spend more time and, there is a special gel for attaching soft gel tips. You can use that, but it's better to use soft gel tips then. The link to the video Anastasia is talking about. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, that's helpful. Do we need to cure the dehydrator and primer too? No, you do not need to cure them. Some brands have UV primer that is supposed to be cured. So if they have this mark, LED or UV, then you do. But now it's rare. Most of them shouldn't, you do not need to cure them. I saw some people put gel base on nail plate before do acrylic extensions. What do you think about it? Well, I actually used this technique when I was working with oily nails with clients with hyperhidrosis. So sometimes it can be helpful, but only in this case. Other than that, I would say why? Because ideally, the gel is sticky, right? So ideally, in doing this properly, you need to apply base coat, you need to cure it, then you need to take off the sticky layer, and then you need to slightly buff it, because without buffing it, it's very smooth. It's not the best kind of surface for applying acrylic. And when doing this, it's like too much time. Like, why should we spend this time if it's already lasting pretty well? So I did this for hyperhidrosis clients because this was the only way on one client we found the technology, how it's going to last. Because when we did gel nails, she was breaking them a lot because on top of that, she was also picking her nails a lot. So acrylic worked better for her, but it was lifting all the time along the sidewall. So once we tried this combination, it worked perfectly. Should we not use acid primers when using gel only for acrylic? Why, Ida? Well, because acrylic, it's like when you take flour, when you take butter, oil, what else do we use for cooking? Like sugar, and then you mix them. And gel is something that's already pre-mixed, okay? So you just need to understand the way acid and non-acid primer works. So acid primer, it goes deeper into the nail, and then it pops this layers of the nail plate to create a better adhesion, and then it connects to them. And since acrylic that we applied is not pre-made, it's like technically we take monomer, we take polymer, we connect them, so it polymerizes differently. And it takes 48 hours to fully cure until all these small particles, molecules will be connected with each other, okay? So you will have a different kind of adhesion with the nail in this case. With gel, it's different. It's like pre-made. It's like if you buy, this ready-to-cook mix for croissants, right? You just separate them and then you bake them in the oven. So non-acid primer does not do that. Non-acid primer is simply applied on top of the nail, which connects to the nail plate, and on top of that, it creates its own connection with the product. I don't know. Well, I tried to briefly explain. We actually have a certain special section explaining how primers work, why you should choose this or that primer in the class. So, but this like a very brief, quick explanation of why you should not use it for gel. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge and expert advice. Okay, no, the quiz is not yet available because we're still on the live stream. Maybe I am going to share you some secret that's not included. But okay, that's everything I think I wanted to share. Calera is asking, I'm interested in taking Manicure 101 course. How many models are needed? In Manicure 101, there is not as many. I think 3 or 4 will be enough. And you can also use yourself as a model. So 3 to 4 as far as I remember. So long story short, you can't use acid primers for hard gel. Exactly, yeah. Use it only with acrylic. What brand of primer and base coat is a good one for hard gel? Whatever brand of hard gel you're using is good for them. Honestly, guys, I haven't really seen bad primers. I mean, most of them are pretty good. So just use the same one as the brand that you're using, because when you buy them in the kit, it's usually like a better deal, and then you have all at once. And the base coat, I recommend using the base coat that is for gel polishes, because it's more flexible and it's going to work with any product. Okay, guys, so I'm having the signals that I still need to stick to the schedule. It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I see that some of you cannot wait to fill the quiz. So you will receive it in a few moments after we finish the live stream. Thank you so much for joining. Do not forget that the special deal is still available, but it will not be available after a few days, as well as the replay. So please hurry up to watch it. If you didn't watch the first or the second day fully, you still have time for it. And I personally, guys, what do you think about the 2-day class? I think it was a perfect solution, because when it's just 1 day, I'm always like, oh no, I also want to share this and show them this and share this, and now it's 1 day and it's gone, and the next webinar is like, I don't know, 3 months away. But now I had 2 days, so I didn't miss anything I wanted to share. I had this second day when I just took more time today to answer your questions, just like I planned. And I think it's pretty awesome. And I also like that we fill this workbook. So I enjoyed this time, and I want to thank you so much for this energy. I'm super excited that we have so many people. This time we beat the record. We had 400 people online at some point at the same time. And during the first day only, we had 2,500 views, which to me is crazy. That's like a huge stadium, right? So thank you so much for your trust, for joining me. I look forward to seeing your certificates once you receive it in the stories. I look forward for you to joining my classes, the ones that we start on February 12th, because this is going to be a great class. I prepared some cool live streams and more like some things in this class for you. You will definitely like them and not regret joining this class. Thank you so much, and remember, never stop learning. Goodbye.